Welcome to SB Union High School and Junior College, Pune. Children, I am Deepa Phadke. We had already started learning about Standard 8 History, Chapter 9, Last Phase of Struggle for Independence, Part 3. Till now, we have learned up to importance of Quit India movement, and we had started learning about Indian National Army, that is Azad Hind Sena. So let's start learning more about Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. The contribution of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose in the attainment of India's independence is highly significant, children, because he took phenomenal efforts for gaining this independence. On the eastern borders of India, thousands of Indian soldiers stood readily to fight against the British, and all these soldiers belonged to Azad Hind Sena, and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was their leader. He was an important leader of Indian National Congress, and he was of the opinion that when England had involved into the Second World War, that was the exact time our movement should have been intensified further. So obviously he was there for Indian freedom struggle, but because of some differences between him and all other national leaders of the Indian National Congress, he left the Indian National Congress Party. But to place his views in front of the people, he founded a party called as Forward Bloc. Always he appealed to the people. When we talk about his efforts, let me tell you, always he appealed to the people, to the Indians, to revolt against the British rule. And because of this, the government imprisoned him. Later on, he went on fast unto death in the prison, due to which British government learnt, they understood that they had to leave him. So they interned him in his residence, but from there he escaped in disguise, and then he reached Germany in about April 1941, and there he founded the Free India Center. From Berlin radio station in Germany, he appealed to the Indians. See, not being there in India also, he continued putting in efforts for India's freedom, and he insisted people, rather he appealed to the people through his speeches, and he said that tum mujhe khoon do, main tumhe azadi dunga, means you give me blood and I will give you independence. These were prominent words of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And during this time only, when he was in Germany, Raj Bihari Bose invited Subhash Chandra Bose to Japan. So you can imagine, children, how he was highly inspired to do something for the sake of our nation. And we are going to learn about him in companionship of Raj Bihari Bose. Like both these friends, how Raj Bihari Bose also supported him, and what were their further agenda, that we will learn in the next paragraph. During 1941, Raj Bihari Bose invited Subhash Chandra Bose to Japan. Actually, that was the time when Netaji was there in Germany. So here again, as we have discussed earlier, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose worked very hard when he was in Japan, and over there, along with Raj Bihari Bose, because it was Raj Bihari Bose who established Indian National Army, that is Azad Hind Sena. There's another story that who all people were the members of this Indian National Army, that we are going to learn when we will learn about Raj Bihari Bose later. As we are discussing about Netaji's contribution, we must understand that when in 1943, when he was in Singapore, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose established Azad Hind government in Singapore, and Shah Nawaz Khan, Jagannath Bhosle, Dr. Lakshmi Swaminathan, Guru Baksh Singh Dhillon, Prem Kumar Sehgal, these were all the people who became his chief associates Captain Lakshmi Swaminathan was the commander of Rani of Jhansi regiment, and Netaji appealed this time only, as we have discussed earlier, this time only Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose appealed to the people that you give me blood and I will give you independence. So you can imagine that the words, the speeches that are given by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose is really noteworthy and highly inspiring to the young generation of Indians. Who was Rashbihari Bose? Rashbihari Bose was also one of the young youth of Indian civilization. He was staying in Japan since 1915, and he was the one who had a very foresightedness with him. So he started organizing Indian patriots, those who were living in the countries of Southeast Asia. And then he established the organization called as Indian Independence League. So let me once again repeat, children. It is the Indian National Army, that is Azad Hind Sena, and Indian Independence League. These two organizations have been established by Rashbihari Bose. In the early part of 1942, Japan had conquered some territories in Southeast Asia. Actually, these territories were under the control of the British. But because Japan conquered these territories, the people, thousands of Indian soldiers and officers in British Army over there, all that fell into the hands of Japanese government. Obviously, there was very good relation between Japanese government and Rashbihari Bose. All these people, thousands of Indian soldiers and officers, they were handed over to Rashbihari Bose. So he, with the help of Captain Mohan Singh, he formed a battalion of these thousands of Indian prisoners of war. And then later it was named as Indian National Army. So children, who were the people, who were the Indian soldiers? These soldiers were already handed over to Rashbihari Bose from Japanese government, whom they had got into the territories which were conquered by Japanese government. So all these Indian prisoners, through which a battalion was formed, and this battalion only later on named as Indian National Army, that is Azad Hind Sena. Later Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose led the Indian National Army. So overall, if you see, children, it was Rashbihari Bose who invited Subhash Chandra Bose to Japan, and then they started their campaigning against the British. It is equally important, children, to learn about the founders of Indian National Army, Indian Independence League, as well as Azad Hind government. Same way, children, it is also important to learn more about the achievements of Indian National Army. Indian National Army, which was formed by Rashbihari Bose, and later on the leadership of this army was given to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. So let's something about the adventurous activities of the Indian National Army. In November 1943, Japan conquered Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and then again, like before, handed over them to Azad Hind government. Then after getting them, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose renamed them as Shaheed and Swarajya. So Andaman and Nicobar were renamed as Shaheed and Swarajya respectively. Then in 1944, the Indian National Army captured the Arakan province of which was there in Myanmar. Also, some of the posts in the eastern border of Assam were also captured by Azad Hind Sena. But and in the same period, even in 1944 only, the campaign of Imphal, which was started unfortunately, it remained incomplete. There is a reason behind it, children. That was the time when Second World War was going on. And over here, as everyone is aware about this incident, that America threw atom bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki of Japan territories. Obviously, these two cities were bomb blasted by America, and over here Japan, which was engaged and actively involved in the Second World War, had to take the defeat, had to accept the defeat. And within the same days only, on 18th August 1945, even Subhash Chandra Bose died in a plane accident. So this was the background, children, where there was no other alternative for the Indian National Army but to lay down their arms. So children, this was the thrilling phrase of the Indian National Army, but unfortunately, with the sad demise of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, finally Indian National Army laid down its arms. Later, obviously British government charged these officers of the Indian National Army with treason, and over here Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Bhulabhai Desai, Tej Bahadur Sapre, these expert lawyers, they tried to defend these people, but military tribunal held the officers guilty, and finally they were sentenced to life imprisonment. So children, the work is also noteworthy by all these people, but finally they were imprisoned. So there was severe unrest when people came to know about the life imprisonment of these army people. There was discontent and people became very furious. There was unrest against the British government in the minds of the Indian people. And finally, looking at the anger, the discontent among the people, the Britishers had to annul the punishment that was given by them to these military people, to these army people of Indian National Army. Let's learn more about the revolts of the Indian Navy and Air Force on the background of the punishment that was given to the army of Indian National Army. The Navy and Air Force soldiers, they were highly inspired by the activities that were done by the Indian National Army. So the reason when they came to know about this tribunal and the punishment that was given, so finally, as we have studied, even Britishers had to annul the punishment given by the military tribunal. Here, when people came to know about this punishment, it burst out on the British warship Talwar in Mumbai on 18th February 1946. So, even common Indians had become furious. Then imagine what must be the anger and what must be the brave ideas about these Indian Navy and Air Force people. They were highly discontented with this punishment. So, this anger burst out on the British warship. The soldiers unfurled the tricolour flag on the British warship and they raised slogans against the British government. So obviously British government sent its army to open fire on these Indian Navy and Air Force soldiers. The rebels also made counter-attack with firing, and to support the surprising of naval soldiers, the Air Force officers also from Delhi, Lahore, Karachi, Ambala, Meerut, they also went on strike. So as if this was the reaction of all the Indian soldiers, Indian Navy as well as Indian Air Force. These revolts were a clear-cut indication to the Britishers that the sentiments of discontent had already raised against the rulers and it had reached its climax. So in this way, the period from 1942 to 1946, exactly the period when the Second World War was going on and England was involved into the Second World War, this was a time particularly our Indian freedom struggle was at its peak. Through the Quit India movement, as we have studied, severe discontent of Indian people, Indian Navy, Indian Air Force had shown against the British, and it was highly expressed through different activities. Army, Navy and Air Force, actually it was the backbone of the British power, but now we can see that over there only people working over here in Army, Navy, Air Force only had actually revolted against the British. So now they were also like opposing the British. Due to these incidents, the British rulers realized, it was during 1946 that they realized that they will not be able to empower India for a longer period of time, because they had understood now, they had started counting their days in India, and they had also realized that here onwards it was going to be very difficult for them to again stand strongly against the Indians. So children, here we have learnt the Quit India movement also, its effect, we can say, the importance of this movement. No doubt there are so many movements that have taken place during the freedom struggle of India, Indian independence, but this Quit India movement has its own features, we can say, because based on this background only